Are you looking for credit hacks to help boost your credit score? In today's video, we're going to be covering the Navy Federal Pledge Loan Hack. Many of you may have already heard of this hack, but I'm going to be breaking down exactly what the Pledge Loan Hack is, how it works, and who it is best for. Now, you can also apply this same hack to 14 other banks that I'm going to be giving you in today's video. Make sure to stay tuned, watch the entire video because I'm telling you guys, it's a game changer. Let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and if you are new here, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. Give me a huge thumbs up and let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. Now, in today's video, we're going to be covering the Pledge Loan Hack. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about this hack, who it's good for, should I do it, should I not do it? And I'm going to be busting all of the myths. We're going to be getting into every single detail of how these pledge loans work and how you can apply the same concept to other banks to allow you to help build credit. Because the stronger your credit profile is, the more qualified of a credit candidate you are in the bank's eyes. We have to understand how to look good on paper. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you these credit hacks that are going to make you look really good on paper. These pledge loans are considered installment loans. So if you are light on the installment side of things, like you've never had a car loan or you've only had maybe one, you don't really have too many installment loans, this is a great credit product to add to your credit profile to help enhance your credit profile and also build your relationship with the bank. Now, Navy Federal is going to be the #1 credit union in the United States based on their assets. I just did a video on the top 200 banks, top 100 banks, and top 100 credit unions, 200 banks total, and this was based on their asset size. Now we're going to be getting into how you can qualify and all of those good things in today's video, so make sure to watch the entire video because a lot of people will ask questions, but guess what? They didn't watch the entire video. So we're going to be breaking down a lot of how it works, frequently asked questions, because I still get a lot of questions on, hey, how does that pledge loan work? So we're going to be breaking down all of the different angles of how the pledge loan works, when it is a good time to get it, is it going to be right for you, so on and so forth. All right, are you ready to get started in on the Navy Federal Pledge Loan Hack? This video is going to be insane. I'm literally going to be showing you everything you need to know about this pledge loan hack to help you build credit. And guess what? Even if you can't get with Navy Federal, I am going to give you 14 other banks that you can do this pledge loan with besides Navy Federal. So you can learn how this pledge loan thing works, see how it can benefit you, and then take action. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get into it. Now, a lot of you guys have heard of the pledge loan hack and maybe you don't quite understand what it is. That's perfect because I'm going to be breaking down exactly what the pledge loan is, who it's for, so make sure to watch this entire video. And if you are new to my channel, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Give me a huge thumbs up. Let me know if you're here. Check in below in the comments. Let me know what your experience has been because sharing is caring. And I always tell everyone, if you knew better, you would do better. I give you the information you need to know, not what you want to hear. Because unfortunately, I can sit there, I can lie to you guys all day, and you would probably still believe me. but I wouldn't be able to sleep at night because that's not who I am. I'm here to give you the real deal information, and then it's up to you to take the facts, do your own research, and then make an educated decision. Don't just take my word for it because information is always changing. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice, but I am here to give you the facts on what has worked for me and what has worked for thousands of people that I have worked with and some of the clients that I have worked with. So please take this information and take action, okay? Pledge loans do not cost you a hard inquiry. So yes, they do report to all three of the credit bureaus, but they are not going to cost you a hard inquiry. So if you are worried about that, you do not have to worry about it at all because it won't be a hard inquiry for you. So if you are looking to build credit and you don't have a good credit score, don't worry. You're using your own money and there is no hard inquiry required. What is a pledge loan? Now, a pledge loan is basically a secured loan, okay? Just like a secured credit card, except for this is a secured loan. You're taking your own money from your savings account and you're doing a certificate pledge loan. In this case, it would be with Navy Federal. But Navy Federal is not the only bank out there that offers this program. They're just the most popular bank because, of course, they are the #1 credit union. And they're the ones that started this gangsta. You know what I mean? Just kidding. But they are really. But pledge loan is a secured savings loan and you borrow against it. So they're going to take the money from your savings account and they're going to put it into your checking account. And then you're going to have a loan out against that you will be responsible for paying back. We're going to get into all of this and how to set it up and how to do everything. So again, guys, make sure that you are watching this entire video before you ask questions because I want to make sure that I answer anyone's questions or concerns. Again, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments and I'll get to them, okay? Now, what do pledge loans do? They help you build credit. They add comparable credit to your credit profile. They help strengthen your credit profile. They add an installment loan without a hard inquiry to your credit profile. You can add higher limits to your profile. So if you have a big chunk of change that you're getting back from your tax returns, do a pledge loan, okay? That's a gem right there. If you don't remember anything else from this video, remember this. It is late 2023 as of today, okay? 2024 is almost amongst us, okay? Take your tax returns. If you're getting thousands back, before you even pay a bill, okay? Throw all of that money into a pledge loan, okay? Because this is going to help you acquire higher amounts of credit. It's going to add a higher limit to your credit profile. So if you're getting $15,000 back on your tax returns, do a $15,000 pledge loan, okay? Take that money, do another pledge loan. You could do 2 pledge loans and then pay them back. You're still going to have access to the money, okay? And I'm going to show you how it all works. I'm actually going to show you an example of a $200,000 pledge loan in today's video. So again, you want to make sure to watch the entire video because I'm breaking it all down for you. I'm showing you what it really looks like to do this. Before we go any further, I want to share with you my story in regards to a pledge loan. Now, if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you will know I have done pledge loans for myself. My first pledge loan was for $3,500 because I didn't really know any better and that was what I was comfortable with at the time. Of course, again, uneducated, right? So I did a $3,500 pledge loan. I paid that off in 6 months. My second pledge loan was for $25,000, okay? I took all of the money that I had and I put it towards a pledge loan. I paid off, about 80-90% of it within the first couple months, so I didn't have a big debt, because when you have an installment loan like a pledge loan and it shows that you owe $10,000, it does affect your debt to income, and we will get into that. But the moral of the story is I was able to get a $25,000 credit card approved after I did that $25,000 pledge loan. So again, it raises the bar. And in this example that I'm going to show you guys right here in black and white, so these are the facts, okay? This is a $200,000 pledge loan that helped somebody acquire a very large home equity line of credit that was confirmed by the representative, and they said the pledge loan was what helped you get this amount of funding approved. Okay, so they're telling you, hey, this is the way to go. This hack really does work. It is legit. Not only has it worked for me, it has worked for a number of people that I have worked with, that I have consulted with, that I have coached. So this pledge loan, it is great, especially if you're looking to get a larger loan, if you're looking to get a larger limits, because even if you don't have those larger limits in your accounts, you can have family members co-sign for you. So that's a whole, I mean, there's just so much to it. So let's get into this and how it really looks in real life. So this is actually a pledge loan agreement sample. And as you can see, this pledge loan is for $200,000. So yes, it is a high amount, but you have to understand the concept behind it. And I always talk about the concept of credit. I even have the Credit Concept podcast. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you have watched all of the episodes of the Credit Concept podcast. I will leave a link below for you to listen in. So again, this is a $200,000 pledge loan, and it gives a breakdown of how many payments it's going to be. This is a 60-month term, and you can elect the amount of terms that, or the amount of term that you would like. So if you're going to do, say, like a 36-month term, which is 3 years, you can do that. Can you pay it off early? Absolutely. We're going to get into a lot of the FAQs and all that stuff later. Is there a fee? Yes, there is. We'll break down what those fees are. It's usually between 2 and 3%. Nothing too major, especially if you don't plan to keep it for a long period of time. If this is just something you're like, hey, I'm going to do this pledge loan, but I'm going to pay, 80 or 90% of it off within the first, 6 months or so, and then just let the remainder, flow on auto pay. So at least it's not affecting your debt to income. You don't want to pay it off too soon, because the goal of the pledge loan is to help you get on time payment history. And that's kind of what we're going to get into is, is it a good time for you to do a pledge loan right now, or should you wait? Because timing is everything when it comes to credit, and there's nothing fast about credit. So you don't want to start something that, you're not going to be able to finish. So that's why I always tell people, like, if you're getting your tax returns, if you're getting some sort of loan or large amount of cash that is going to be sitting in your bank account, before you do anything else with it, make sure you do a pledge loan, because the money just needs to be in your savings account, and then it goes into your checking account. So you're still going to have access to the funds. Now you can see here, based on this pledge loan agreement, that if the client did take the entire 60-month term, the fee and finance charge that would be assessed with a $200,000 loan is almost $12,000. So of course, if you're doing a larger amount, you're going to pay it off much quicker, so you don't have to pay that interest. This is just over that 60-month term, what the interest would be at 2.25%. So it does vary. And of course, you can do pledge loans for any amount that you're comfortable with, but obviously the higher, the better. So the lowest that you can go is $250. The highest is really, what you have. You can go $200,000. You can go higher than that. If you got $500,000, you can try that, but the terms will be different based upon, how much of the pledge loan, how much you are pledging, okay? and the interest is going to vary as well. It's usually, like I said, between 2 and 3%. So this is what the pledge loan agreement looks like. It's very straightforward. You have to have the money that you're going to be pledging in your savings account when you call Navy Federal or when you go into a branch. For me, I just did everything over the phone. Why go to a branch when I can literally make the phone call when I'm like driving home or, doing something else? Put your headset on, multitask, call Navy Fed, do the pledge loan. Just make sure that you've transferred the money and it's sitting in your savings account ready for them to take it and pledge it toward the pledge loan. Okay. So the way that this pledge loan thing works is you have to have the money that you are going to be pledging in your savings account, in your Navy Federal savings account. Or if you're doing it with another bank, the money just needs to be in your savings account. And this is what it would look like. It's called a shares pledged loan. And it looks like any other installment loan. This is obviously in the Navy Federal app. And what you want to make sure that you are doing is setting it up on auto pay so it pays itself back. Now, you can always pay more within the app. So if it is affecting your debt to income or you don't want to pay interest on the amount, you can pay 80 to 90% of it off and then let the remainder just kind of flow on auto pay until you may need to have it at a zero balance. But this is what it would look like. So it shows as if it is a $200,000 loan. Now, of course, that is going to show that you owe someone $200,000. So that would affect your debt to income. So that's why we're going to get into a little bit later in the video who this is for and who this is not for. So we got to talk about, is this going to be the right time for you to put something like this on your credit profile? Now, if you are not planning to do anything with your profile at the moment, please take all of the money that you have and do a pledge loan to help strengthen your credit profile. This is going to help increase your credit score over time. This is going to help add on-time payments to your credit profile. Of course, you have to make sure everything is paid on time. Okay, that's why auto pay is so important. Auto pay is part of adulting. So if you don't trust auto pay yet, you got to get over that. If you need some counseling, schedule a call below. You can book a 15-minute mini coaching call with me, guys. So please, if you have questions, feel free to do so. The link is in the description. But this is what it looks like. Pretty straightforward, okay? Now, the next thing that we're going to be looking at is, again, what it looks like inside of your app. So if you did want to pay more, all that you have to do is go inside of your app. You can see it's very easy. You can just click that little pay button and you can pay your loan down a little bit more. You want to wait until this reports, okay? So see how it says the balance is $200,000 because it's so new? You want to wait at least, in my opinion, 30 days. Give it enough time to report to the credit bureaus that you owe $200,000, okay? And then you can pay it down. You don't want to pay it off too quickly, okay? Because again, the purpose of this is to develop that relationship, allow the bank to make a little bit of money off you because again, you have to give a little to get a little. And I'm going to show you the rewards of what something like this can potentially do for you, okay? Now, we don't want any negatives when we're applying for things. So that has a lot to do with it. This is obviously not the end all be all, but this is a great way for you to add a primary trade line to your credit report that is an installment loan. So for those of you that are looking to buy a vehicle or buy a higher ticket vehicle, This is a great way for you to add an installment loan to your credit profile to help you get approved for that $100,000 or $200,000 auto, instead of you trying to buy an auto trade line that, I mean, in this day and age, they're very hard to come by, and it's fraud. So, it's really not going to work in this day and age. You need to have a trade line from a reputable bank like Navy Federal, okay? If you have a $200,000 auto loan from some no-name company, it's not likely, okay? So again, we want to wait about 30 days, allow the pledge loan to report to your credit reports and to report that balance, okay? Then you can start paying it down, okay? And you can pay it down inside of the app. This is what it would look like. So of course, you see the pledge loan amount is a little over 200,000 because of the interest, okay? And the money is still in the checking account. So what they did was they just transferred the money. The money is still in your checking account to pay back the loan. And then again, it's just like recycling money, but it's your money. So if you have any sort of lump sum of money just sitting around, put it in the bank, okay? It's safe, okay? It's safer than doing anything else. And if you've had issues in the past opening up bank accounts, guess what? Navy Federal doesn't use check systems. I always recommend getting your check systems report, cleaning that up, because every other bank pretty much does use it. But Navy Federal uses early warning. So if you have any issues with early warning, request a copy of your report on their website. I'll leave a link below and clear that up. A lot of times it's something very small. It's under a couple $100. Take care of that. Whatever bank is reporting, go to the branch and clear it up with a banker. Okay? It's that simple. It's just about adulting, right? We gotta work through these things so they're no longer affecting us. Instead of saying, oh, well, I'm just gonna get Chime. No, okay? So again, keep the auto pay on. The most important thing, if you don't ever listen to anything else that I say, understand this. On-time payments are so important. On-time payments, just paying your bills on time that report to the credit bureaus, okay? This has to be paid on time. If you do a pledge loan, or if you do a self account or a Credit Strong account or any other credit builder account to help build your credit, you have to make sure the payments are made on time, because they will report a late payment, and late payments can drop your credit score up to 100 points. I just had a client, oh my God bless him. But we've worked together for over a year, and I finally got his credit over 700. We were able to qualify him to buy a new truck. He actually bought 2 new trucks. And then guess what happened within 6 months of him getting his truck? Yeah. A late payment. Guess what it did? It dropped his 700 credit score into the 500s. Yeah. That fast. 1 late payment. And it is what it is. I mean, credit reports are data. They're like our adult, report card. So you have to make sure that you're playing the game of credit correctly. And late payments are the fastest way to drop your credit score. So please, for the love of God, make sure you are paying every bill that reports to your credit on time. That's why I tell people, don't even worry about adding Experian Boost, because we don't want nothing extra. All we want are the real, good trade lines, like higher ticket trade lines on our credit report that show we pay on time from real banks. Like that Credit Boost stuff is not really worth it, because it's a low ticket item and you're just adding a bunch of trash to your credit, in my opinion. But sometimes it does help the score, but overall, it's not adding to all three credit bureaus, it's just to Experian. And we're looking for bank trade lines that are a higher ticket amount. We're not looking for Netflix that's $9.99 a month. So we want to make sure that everything that's paid to our credit report is paid on time. So if your rent is not reported to credit, you might be able to be a little flexible with that. You might get a late fee, but if it doesn't report to your credit, so be it. You have to make sure your bills that report to your credit are priority and paid first, because a late payment can haunt you for up to 7 years. It will drop your credit score as fast as anything I've ever seen. So please, please, please get everything on auto pay. Put it in your calendar on your phone. Put it in there as a reminder. Hey, this is when my due date is, okay? Make sure auto pay processed. If you got a new account, if something's going on, it is your responsibility to make sure all of these bills are processed and paid on time. You got 30 days to make sure that it is paid before they report a late payment. So even if you are a few days past your due date on the personal side, if you're like, oh my God, my credit card was due yesterday. Oh my God, I forgot. The auto pay didn't process because that was my old account and I got a new account. You're good. They're not going to report a late payment a day after. Okay, you got 30 days, really 28, but we'll call it 30. That's why it says 30 days past due. Of course, there's late fees and things of that nature you'll have to pay. You might ask to waive the late fee after it's paid and they can provide you with a credit. Or if you call them and say, hey, this was just a mess up, would you mind waiving the late fee? I can take care of the balance today. But this is a one-time thing. If you could just please waive this late fee for me. But please, for the love of God, just make sure that all of your credit bills are paid on time. It is super important. And it really is the number one thing when it comes to having a good credit score is paying your bills on time. Okay, that is it. Let's get back to the fun stuff here. So this is what it looks like once the pledge loan has been paid down 92.5%. You'll see here that there was a transfer made of $185,000. Okay, so now the balance is only $15,000, and that's what I was saying is pay that balance down so the bank still gets a little bit of interest. But now you only show that you owe a $15,000 balance instead of $200,000, but you still got that $200,000 trade line. Okay, so that was well worth it. And you can see here the terms. So it gives you your 14-day payoff period. Of course, that's with interest. The interest rate is 2.25% on this particular pledged loan, but they do vary. So yours might be 3.25. You just never know because it does vary. And then you can see here what the daily interest accrual amount would be. It's $12.33. But of course, this is a much higher ticket than most people are doing. I've seen people go up to 100,000. So when you have a higher ticket amount, of course, the fees are going to be a lot more, but your average person isn't going to do, super high over 100,000. And again, if you do have a family member that does have a large amount, they can actually co-sign for you, and we'll get into that in just a bit. Now, once you have paid off your pledge loan, you want to allow at least 30 days for it to update onto your credit report. So you do not want to apply for anything to your debt to income, and it can result in a denial because it's a new account and you owe too much money. So that's why I always tell people, make sure when you are doing the pledge loan process, you do not apply for anything, okay? Don't apply for anything. This is used to help you build credit and to help strengthen your credit profile, help strengthen your relationship with the bank. And again, you use this same concept with Navy Federal, just as you would with other financial institutions that offer this same type of pledged loan. It is just a secured loan that does not require a hard credit pull, but helps you build credit and helps you build that relationship with the bank. So that way, when you're done with the pledge loan, you can go back to that bank and get a bag. Okay. So next slide here, I'm going to be showing you their goal with this pledge loan was to acquire a home equity line of credit. Now, once everything updated, they applied for the home equity line of credit and they were approved for $250,000. Okay. That's a prime example of adding a primary trade line like a pledge loan and getting comparable credit in return. So that's why people always ask me, like, what's the purpose of that? This is the purpose. So you can get approved for higher amounts that you wouldn't normally have gotten approved for. Now, this approval was, I guarantee, this was due to the shares pledge loan. Okay. This is the hack. This helps you get approved for higher amounts, not only for like a home equity line of credit, but for auto loans and any other sort of installment loan out there. Because when you show comparable credit on your credit profile, especially with the bank that you did it with, they're going to be like, heck yeah, we'll give it to you, because that's how they make money. They have the money to lend, but they have to make sure that they're lending to people that have proved to been able to manage this type of credit in the past. Comparable credit. You have to have comparable credit. And this just raises the bar for you, because now you showed a $200,000 loan that you paid off quick. Okay. Then you're stepping up, stepping stones. Now you're at 250. Next you're at 300. Then you're at 350. So you just keep on climbing up that ladder. And I'll tell you what, I even spoke with a licensed specialist over the phone, and it was a licensed MNLS, licensed equity specialist 3, via email and phone, and they confirmed and stated, quote, huge plus to this strategy. Okay, huge plus to this strategy. So the banks know this is the strategy. Okay, but banks are always going to test you. Okay, they want to see, hey, can you be trusted with this money? If you show risk, they're not going to give you this money. But if you don't look like a risk and you have comparable credit that you can show them, like, hey, I just did a $200,000 loan and I paid it off and everything went well. Now you have comparable credit and you make the bank feel comfortable. Okay. And that's what it's all about, is building comparable credit and building a relationship directly with the bank. So that way they see you as a credible candidate to lend to. And that's what you want to do, is look good on paper. Okay. They don't care about nothing else but the data that is on your credit reports. Okay. And that's why it is so important for you to understand the data that is listed on your credit report and clean that up and build positive comparable credit. If your goal is to get higher amounts of credit, higher ticket amounts, doing a pledge loan is a hack for you to raise the bar. Okay. And it just keeps growing from there. I told you guys my story about how I did a $25,000 pledge loan and my credit card after that was $25,000. Same concept here. $200,000 pledge loan, got approved for $250,000. $250,000. Now, if they would have not done the pledge loan prior to this, I don't think they would have gotten as much. They may have gotten like $150,000, but that pledge loan just helped them raise the bar. Like, it raised the bar for them. So this opened up so many opportunities, because now when they go to another bank and another financial institution, they can do the same thing with them, before they know it, they've got over $1 million in credit that they can invest into properties and into real estate, into money making assets. And a lot of people might say, oh, that's the fastest way to get in debt. Why would you want to do that? You have to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. And what you do with money, you need to make your next move your best move. I can't sit there and babysit everyone, but I would hope to God that if you took credit out, you understand and you're grown enough to make an adult decision that, hey, I'm taking this money knowing that I have to pay it back, knowing that, if I mess up, this can ruin my life. Okay. So don't do it, right? Don't take money that you can't afford to pay back, because this is not free money. This is not play money. This is not Monopoly. Okay. This is real life. And if you try to run off with the plug's money, they will find you, they will sue you, and they will get their money back one way or another, whether that's taking your paycheck a little percentage at a time or taking your tax returns because they've sued you and they get a default judgment because you don't show up because you're guilty. So you be smart about this stuff. Don't take out money knowing you don't have a way to pay it back. If you are doing this for investment purposes, then this is great for you because you can do a lot. For those that have that entrepreneurship in them, they are an entrepreneur by heart. They just need funding to buy supplies or invest in properties or do what you need to do. By all means, this is what it's here for, but you still need to have a source of income to pay the monthly payment until your business is strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet. And that's why it's so important for a lot of new business owners to still have a job and make sure that they have a steady source of income so they can help fund their business until their business is able to flourish and grow on its own. And even then, I wouldn't recommend that an entrepreneur quit their job until they've been in their company for at least 5 years. Okay, give it a 5-year time frame before you just up and quit your job. I see a lot of people that quit too soon and then they have to go find another job. So I tell people, don't quit too soon. Don't, throw the towel in because you started a business and you're going to be a millionaire. There's no doubt about that. You're going to, but it takes time. There's nothing fast about this whole credit thing. And not to say that, it will take 5 years, but I'm just saying, plan it out accordingly. Don't pull the trigger on things too quickly. Move at your own pace. Don't try to keep up with everyone else. You have to understand, in business, it takes money to make money. So just make your next move your best move, because if you knew better, you do better. So let's get moving here. And I'm just so excited to bring you guys this information because this is powerful information. It's game changer. It's a game changer. Okay, you guys know how I say it. It's a game changer. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't by now, make sure that you've subscribed to the channel. We are just getting started, so don't go anywhere yet, and make sure that you are sharing the video on Facebook, share it with your friends, because this type of information is not taught to us. Unfortunately, it's not taught, period. Okay, so we just have to figure it out. It took me a lot of trial and error to get this whole thing figured out, but I didn't really get this whole credit thing until I was in my 30s, and that's just too late. We want to make sure that we are educating our children. We're putting our youth in the best position possible to purchase properties and buy money making assets and have various streams of income so they don't have to struggle like we did. Okay, so what is a pledge loan? A pledge loan is an installment loan. What is an installment loan? An installment loan is a loan that has the same amount of payment each and every month until the balance is paid in full and zeroed out. If you paid one lump sum fee, now the balance is zero, then it's zero. Other installment loans include student loans, auto loans, mortgages, personal loans, business loans. Those are all forms of installment loans. So when you add a higher ticket amount to your credit profile, that is just going to help raise the bar when you do go apply for a personal loan or a business loan. Because even on the business side, you're going to 5x that. So if they see, oh, well, they took out, this loan for 200,000 and they paid it off, no problem. That shows that you can manage a higher amount versus someone that hasn't even had a $20,000 installment loan on their credit profile. So, banks are more leery of saying, well, we don't even see a $20,000 trade line on their credit report, so we don't feel comfortable giving them $5,000. We'll give them $1,000, okay? But if they see, oh, they've got a 200,000, we'll give them 100, so it just helps raise the bar. You can pay it off early, but of course that does defeat the purpose, because the purpose of this installment loan is to maintain that solid payment history. We don't want to have to pay too much on the interest. Like I said, interest is between 2 and 3%. But if we can avoid that, we will. But just understand it's kind of like a trade-off, you got to give a little to get a little, and giving the bank a little bit of interest on your money is really no big deal, because this is just going to help raise the bar for your credit limits. And like I said, when I did my pledge loan, I got $25,000 credit card, which is credit cards are revolving lines of credit. So this works for both installments and revolving lines of credit, because we're adding that comparable credit to our profile, and we're building our relationship and strengthening our relationship directly with the bank. So of course that's going to earn us some brownie points. And in this case, Navy Federal has their internal credit scoring model, which doing a pledge loan is going to help boost that internal credit score with Navy Federal. Well, it's not a credit score per se, but it's Navy Federal's internal scoring system. And that is up to a 450. And guess what? The only way that you're going to know what your internal score with Navy Federal is if you apply for something, say a credit card or a loan, and whether you are approved or denied, Navy Federal sends you a letter in the mail. And in that letter, it will disclose what your credit score was at the time of approval or denial. And then, on that same letter, you got to make sure to look on the front and back. You'll see in another little section, your internal credit score is this out of 450. So in order for you to get a higher internal score with Navy Federal, you need to have a checking account, savings account, some sort of pledged savings account, pledged loan. You can do a CD or some sort of, savings certificate with Navy Federal. I recommend doing a 2-year certificate if possible, and multiple certificates if possible. Those are all going to help earn brownie points. In addition, you want to make sure that you have a direct deposit, okay? You don't need to be direct depositing 100%, but any form of direct deposit. So I've talked about this in the past. If you have direct deposit, split your direct deposit up. You can have it go to 5 different bank accounts if you wanted to. You can have some going to checking and some going to savings. And that's exactly what I would do. So if you have direct deposit, update it with your HR department, have, 25% go into the checking account, have 25% going into the savings account. And then you can have, 25% here, 50% there, however you want to break it up, but have direct deposit in both checking and savings account. Okay. That combination right there is going to help you win with Navy Federal. Okay. Now, some of the things that you want to stay away from is getting an overdraft fee. Okay. making late payments. Those are the two things that are going to get you into hot water with Navy Federal. Don't bite off more than you can chew, okay? Be reasonable, be smart, don't F it up. I've told this to many people in the past, but don't play with them, okay? Do not do it. Just do right by them so they can continue to do right by us. They are the #1 credit union in the United States. And, this is just one of many reasons why. So, again, let it flow on auto pay. Make sure that you have set it up correctly. You can do everything over the phone. And why do I love the pledge loan so much? Because it adds what's called comparable credit to your credit profile. And I've talked about this briefly before, but adding comparable credit helps when you're going to buy, say, an auto loan. I just had someone reach out to me today and say, hey, my client wants to get a $150,000 Mercedes-Benz. Okay, great. What's the highest auto loan that they've ever had? Well, they've never had an auto loan in the past. Well, guess what? They're not going to get approved for a $150,000 auto loan, even if they purchase an auto trade line. Why? Because they need to have comparable credit that reports to all 3 credit bureaus. Okay. Now, Mercedes-Benz, they pull TransUnion. So if you're planning to go directly with them, they're going to be pulling FICO 9 from TransUnion, just like Navy Federal. So they're going to want to see comparable credit on your credit profile. If you don't even have a $30,000 installment loan reported, what makes you think they're going to give you $150,000? Okay, you have to build up to that. And that's why doing a pledge loan can be a game changer for a lot of people, because say you do a $200,000 pledge loan, you pay it off, you allow some time to make those payments, like 6 months or so, then go to the auto dealership and go get that $200,000 car. Now, would I recommend getting a $200,000 car in your personal name? Absolutely not. But doing this in your personal name can help you personally guarantee an auto loan for your business. Now, if you don't have a business, absolutely want to, you can, but never put the horse before the carriage. Get your house first. Like a lot of these, songs say, don't buy a $200,000 car before you get a crib. You ain't going to have nowhere to park it, and it's going to look funny being parked in an apartment building that you don't own. So buy a house first and then get your expensive vehicle, because you don't want to add that debt to income before you buy a house. Buying a car could literally ruin your chances of getting qualified for property, because it might affect, well, not might, but it's going to affect your debt to income. So, sometimes you can get it under your business if you have a business that's been established for at least, a year or two. You can personally guarantee it so that way it doesn't report onto your personal credit, or just wait. Okay. So it just depends on your situation, but I would never recommend buying a $200,000 vehicle before you get your house. So again, comparable credit, you have to look at what the banks are looking at. They're going to say, hey, has this person ever had $100,000, $50,000? They've never even had $10,000. We don't feel comfortable giving them because they don't have comparable credit. So moving on here, let's talk about who this is for. This is great for people that are looking to add higher limits to their credit profile, looking to build credit. Now, of course, if a lot of people don't have $100,000 sitting around that they can do a pledge loan with, right? You can go as low as $250 for a pledge loan, and we'll get into that shortly. But I want you to have that mindset of when you get your tax returns, or when you get a loan, or when you get some lump sum of money, do a pledge loan. Okay, do a pledge loan. It's great to build credit. It helps build that relationship directly with the bank, so that way they will give you higher credit. And it adds like a higher primary trade line to your credit profile, so that way, again, when you're going to get comparable credit, you've already added a higher limit, so they're going to try to match that or exceed that limit, because that's what your comparable credit is, okay? Who is this not good for? This is not good for people that are looking to purchase a home, that are looking to apply for any sort of funding, okay? Why? Because when you do get a pledge loan, it does affect your debt to income ratio. Anytime you get any sort of debt that is reported onto your credit report, whether that's credit card debt or some sort of loan, that affects your debt to income ratio. And that could be the reason why you are denied. Now, if you're looking to rent somewhere, I think this will be perfectly fine, because a lot of times rental places through property management companies, they're just looking for like a 680 or a 700 credit score. They don't really care too much about all of the details. They're really just score orientated, versus banks and financial institutions. They don't have a credit score requirement. Why? Because they don't go off credit score. They go off data points, and they go off the information that's on your credit report. The score is just kind of like the basis for them. That's why you'll see some people that are approved at like a 680, and then some people that have a 750 are denied because they don't have a strong enough credit profile, okay? So this is not good for those that are going to be applying for any sort of funding. You want to wait until this is paid down and has been established for at least 6 months before you go and apply for any funding. And that's why I talk about the concept build, break, build, because when you're building credit, you don't want to really be applying for anything during that period. And that period should be about a 6 or a 12-month period. So you want to build, get a couple accounts, maybe 3 to 6 new accounts, take a break for 6 to 12 months, and then build again, because you don't want to build too quickly and you don't want to rush the process, okay? Take your time, go slow, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. You don't want to overextend yourself, okay? Don't try to keep up with other people because you think, you have to. No, if that just means getting 2 accounts every 6 to 12 months or 1 account, do that, okay? Because some is better than none, and we have to establish a very strong credit profile. And the way that you do that is to simply add strong trade lines that are in your name. Trade lines are just credit accounts that are in your name, like your credit cards, your auto loans, your student loans, your personal loans, any sort of loan that you have in your name that you're responsible for paying on time. That is a trade line. And the more trade lines that you have on your credit report that are paid on time, and preferably on the credit card side, a 0 balance and paid on time, okay? Credit cards are not meant to be abused on your personal credit. They are meant to help build a strong credit profile and payment history so you can qualify for properties and other funding that is going to help build generational wealth and create money-making opportunities, okay? It is not for you to mess up on your personal credit cards and go overspend. It's very, very easy to do. I know that, but we gotta change our mindset, okay? I also offer coaching. If you need coaching, book a call below, all right? Now, if you are, this is a credit gem. Like, just take a minute. Whew. Lord, thank you for this information. Ask that you guide all of my followers and subscribers to greatness and lead them and give them the strength to be patient and continue on this path. It is not easy, but with God's help and blessing, anything is possible. Amen. Thank you guys. Go ahead and give me a follow. Give me a thumbs up, guys, because I am dropping these gems for you today. So here is the list of banks. If you cannot get into Navy Federal, and we're going to talk about how to get into Navy Federal in just a bit, but if you do not qualify to get into Navy Federal, or you have messed up with Navy Federal in the past and you're not able to get a bank account with them, These are other banks that you can get in with no excuses. Most banks these days, you can open up an account right over the phone. So I don't want to hear any excuses. Oh, I can't go, blah, 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 blah. No excuse zone over here. We are action takers, because action takers are what? Money makers. Okay, let's get it. Patelco. That's a great bank. If you have not heard of them, go to their website. Andrews Federal Credit Union, that's another credit union that you can do this same pledge loan hack with. State Department Federal Credit Union, National Institutes of Health Federal Credit Union, Langley Credit Union, PenFed, that's Pentagon Federal Credit Union. And, PenFed's another one of my personal favorite banks, and anyone can join. You just have to make a $5 donation to their charity of choice. So you can literally go on their website, make that $5 donation, and you're in. Okay? Wait 30 to 90 days before you do anything and before you ask them for a pledged loan. Okay? Wait. Build that relationship, set up that auto pay, let them see some money flow through your account, get a checking account, get a savings account. If you can do some sort of CD account, do that. Build up that relationship, okay? Get your brownie points with them. Again, auto pay on everything, okay? And you also want to make sure that you have direct deposit with checking and savings account. Have a small amount go into the savings account, have a small amount go into the checking account, just so they can see those reoccurring deposits being made into your account. Space Coast Credit Union. So that's 7 of the 14. You can apply this same concept, this same pledge loan hack, you can do with all of these banks as well. So there's no excuse, okay? Launch Credit Union, Air Force Credit Union, New Vision, Hughes Federal Credit Union, Fort Liberty Federal Credit Union, Princeton Federal Credit Union, Bowater Credit Union. So you notice lots of credit unions out there offer this same service. And if you don't have any of these credit unions, or you're not able to get into any of these banks here, do a Google search, okay? There's thousands and thousands of banks out there. This is just 14, okay? 14 that I know of for sure that will allow you to do the pledge loan. And the great thing about the pledge loan with most of these banks, I can't say all of them because I'm not 100% certain on how all of them operate. They might have different little things that they do differently, okay? But with Navy Federal and most of these other banks, when you do the pledge loan, the money is still in your checking account, so you still have access to it, unlike a credit card, like a secured credit card, where if you spend it, it's going to really affect you in a negative manner because of the utilization. With the pledged loan, the cash is still there. You're just responsible for paying it back. And then once you pay it back, again, the money is still there for you to use. So these are 14 different banks that you can do the pledge loan with, because again, you never want to be monogamous to just one bank. You want to be building relationships with multiple banks in financial institutions, so that way you can get more credit, okay? Start grooming your relationships with the banks, so that way when you do need funding, or you want to buy a vehicle, or you want to buy a house, you already have a relationship with the credit union or financial institution that offers auto loans, that offers mortgages, and you can get a much better interest rate. Talk about the low interest rates. Credit unions have the lowest interest rates for loans because most of the credit unions out there, if not all of them, are not for profit and member owned. So their purpose is to provide their members with lower rates and better approvals. That's what we want. Don't get to the auto dealership and let them run your credit a million times for them to just give you a 20-something% interest rate, car payment $800. No, don't disservice yourself in that manner, okay? Get educated. Bring the funding with you. Bring the bag with you to the auto lot, okay? You are the boss, okay? That's the great thing about having good credit. You are the boss. You have control, okay? And you can shop around with multiple credit unions to see who's going to give you the best interest rate in terms on, say, an auto loan or even a mortgage for that matter, okay? Let's talk about the minimum. So I touched on this a little bit before, but if you don't have a large amount that you can pledge, start off with $250, okay? Do a 6-month term, $250, or a 12-month term. The minimum that you can do for a certificate pledge loan is $250. Again, whatever you're pledging just needs to be in your savings account before you call the bank and set everything up. But if you can do a little bit higher, I recommend the higher the better, because the goal here is to add a higher ticket amount to your credit profile. So again, tax returns are coming up. If you have any sort of settlement money coming, or whatever lump sum of money, if you do happen to have a lump sum, if you get an inheritance or whatever the case may be, do a pledge loan real quick, okay? Add that to your credit report. Add your cash to your credit report. If you're like a high cash person, like I don't trust banks, we got to get over that. We got to work together to get you right, because you have to look good on paper. Cash, unfortunately, is not insured. I know it's a comfort zone thing, but we got to get you right, okay? Now, you can do multiple pledge loans. I know a lot of people have this misconception that they can only do one, but you can actually do multiple pledge loans, but you don't want to get out of control, right? I know with Navy Federal, I've met quite a few people that have had multiple pledge loans going at the same time. I haven't seen someone do more than 3, so there might be a cap, but I know you can do more than one. They just need to be more than 30 days apart from each other. Or if you want to do one, wait a few months, pay that one off, and then do another one. Allow yourself enough time to save more money so you can do a higher ticket. That is going to be better, because you don't want to have a bunch of small amounts like $250. Yes, it helps build credit. There's no inquiry, but again, the higher that you can do, the better, because you want to help raise the bar. If you just have a bunch of $250 pledge loans, when a bank looks at your credit profile, they might give you $500, they might give you $1,000, but you're going to be stuck in that lower tier range because you don't have comparable credit. And that's the whole purpose, adding higher amounts to the profile. You can do, like I said, you can do a pledge loan, but I would recommend, if you are brand new with Navy Federal, you wait until you have been a member with Navy Federal for at least 90 days, okay? Here it says 30 to 90 days, but again, you want to go slow, okay? Date the banks. Show them, hey, I got direct deposit. Hey, let me do a certificate savings account with you guys, which is different from your normal savings account. It's a CD, okay? If you don't know what a CD is, go to their website, check it out, do some research, but do a certificate savings account, okay? You can do multiple accounts to help you increase your overall internal Navy Federal score, and that goes back to relationship. It's all about relationship and building up that good relationship with Navy Federal, because they do have that internal credit score, and you can get so much from Navy Federal. Auto loans, home improvement loans. I mean, I cover a ton of this stuff in my masterclass, and I'll leave links below for the masterclass so you can watch that. There's part 1 and part 2, so it's, it's some hours, but it's gems. I'm telling you, like, this information is life changing, because Navy Federal is going to help raise the bar for everyone else. And then you can use this same concept with, say, PinFed. You can use this same concept with other banks, okay? You can do multiple pledge loans with, say, Navy Federal, PinFed, this that, whatever, and build up that strong credit profile, creating primary trade lines for yourself. Okay. It doesn't get much better than this. I'm trying to tell you. It is super important for you to make sure that you've set up on-time payments, automatic payments. So make sure that you've set up direct payments, automatic payments with the banker over the phone. You can always make additional payments as needed right through the app, like I showed you guys. But those on-time payments are going to help you build up your credit profile, which in return is going to help increase your credit score over time. It takes time. There's nothing that we can do to rush the process. I know we all live in this microwavable world nowadays where everything's super fast paced, but guess what? Credit is not. Credit has been around for over 100 years. It's a slow process. You know, we do what we can to try to beat the system and try to increase what we can organically. And this is a great way that you can help increase your credit score and just increase your chances of getting higher credit amounts, better terms, so on and so forth. But don't F around and get a late payment, okay? Because one missed payment or one late payment will drop your credit score and literally just ruin everything that we're working so hard to gain, okay? It just is so detrimental, and it's just so upsetting that it's that easy to F up, but it is. So you have to really make sure that you got the auto pay on, everything is set up, you have the dates in your calendar, you are organized, you know exactly what's going on, you're not taking on too much, you know, you're taking on just enough to where you can manage it, okay? You have to make sure that you are managing your credit properly. And that's why I always tell people, don't bite off more than you can chew, okay? Just go at your own pace. Don't try to keep up with everyone else and fuck around and find out. Okay, so how do you do a pledge loan? Like, where's the application? All that you have to do is call the bank. Okay, that's all you have to do is just call Navy Federal, set up the pledge loan right over the phone. You can also go into a branch, but it's very easy to just call right over the phone, have the bankers set it up for you over the phone, and have them set up auto pay right there over the phone. You might have to sign a few documents. Well, not might, but you will have to sign a few documents, but you can do that all online and through the app. So it's very, very easy process, and it's no excuses. The best thing about this whole scenario is, say for example, you've got a rich wrench. Say for example, you have like a rich uncle, right? Like, oh my God, I've got this rich uncle. They can do a co-borrower type of deal for you, okay? So if you don't have a lot of cash sitting around, but you know, rich Uncle Bob does, like, hey, Uncle Bob, you've got a Navy Federal account, I've got a Navy Federal account. Would you mind doing like a pledge loan and just putting me as a co-borrower or a co-signer? I don't even have to touch it. It's super easy, right? Because you can have other friends or family member who do have a lot of cash, do a pledge loan, put you as the co-signer for the loan, and now you have a high ticket primary trade line thanks to the rich uncle. I can't say rich today. Rich Uncle Bob. Rich Uncle Bob saved the day, and he didn't even have to give you any money. It helps both of you guys, really. So you could do this for a family member as well. So say, for example, you're like, well, I'm already getting like a lump sum of money. Let me help out, you know, my sister, or my brother, or whomever, my husband, right? You can actually add them to your pledge loan. So now they can get a primary trade line as well. So now instead of you just getting like a $25,000 trade line added, say if you're doing a $25,000 pledge loan, now they are going to have a primary trade line added to their credit report as well, because you added them as a co-borrower. As long as they are a Navy Federal member, that's all that they would need. And it says right here, friends and family. This is right from Navy Federal. You can pledge loan the funds in your own certificate and co-sign the loan for a friend or a family member who's a Navy Federal member, so that they can qualify for low interest rate loans. You must provide written consent, which can be faxed to the number right here. So all that you have to do is just fax it on in. You can call. What I've had a lot of people tell me is when they do this, they just go right into a branch. You got to make sure that you have your identification with you, 2 forms of identification, photo ID, and if you have like a Navy Federal debit card or credit card, that can be a second form. But this is a great little hack for you guys to be able to help each other, help family members, or if you know someone that does this to help people, they can help you, okay? Because a lot of people don't have $100,000 or $200,000 sitting around, but they need a $100,000 trade line to qualify for that car that they want, or to qualify for a higher amount of loan. Whatever the case may be, this is going to help you get better terms, lower interest rate, and higher limits when you add comparable credit, okay? The minimum pledge loan is $250. We went over that. And the maximum, the sky is the limit really, because it's all secured. Now, I have never heard anyone go over like 500,000. Like really 250,000 was the highest I've ever heard of. The example that I showed you was 200,000. That's pretty high, but you can go, as high as you need to, right? But the terms are going to be a little bit different. So you'll just need to talk to the bank, because the terms often change. Information is always changing. We know that, right? But anything over 5-year term requires a $30,000 minimum. So if you plan to do a 5-year term, it needs to be at least $30K, okay? 85 to 180 month term requires $30,000 minimum deposit. This information was given to me directly from Navy Federal, okay? The current shareholder fees, now this is as of 2023, is 2.25% for the first 5 years and 3.25% for anything over 5 years. So the fee is 2 to 3% depending on the loan terms, ranging anywhere from $250 to $500 for a 6-month term, up to $3,001 and beyond for a 60-month term, with a 3% APR for terms up to 180 months. So it's really between 2 and 3%. Let's just keep it easy for easy math. It's not that much. It does add up over time. But again, the goal here is to get the pledge loan. If it's a high ticket amount, pay it down within like the first 6 months. Okay, so you're not paying a tremendous amount in interest. A lot of people will pay it down, 80%, 90% within the first 3 months, which is fine. You can do that. As long as you have a nice chunk left that you can pay those payments over time, that's really what matters, because the goal is to get a 2-year history, okay, or more, right? Because you want to show consistency. You want to show that you've been able to maintain account and pay that bill on time. And a lot of times when you pay a big lump sum, it'll tell you you don't have a payment due until 2027. So you can literally just let it roll every month because you're all paid up. So you really won't have a payment due for a long time, which is fine, because it's just going to continue to help build your credit profile on auto. So that's why it's so important to understand how this whole thing works, because you don't want to pay it and close it too soon, right? Because the goal is to get that long-term, installment history on your credit profile, especially if you're younger and you have not ever paid off a vehicle or you don't have a lot of credit history. This is a great way to just establish that credit history. And like I said, 2 years is the goal, but again, you can go up to 5 years or more, just depending on the terms of everything. So you really just got to do what's best for you. And if you're just not sure, you can always book a call using the links below in the description. Now, a lot of people always ask, how do you join Navy Federal? And that's a great question, because yes, Navy Federal does specialize in helping the military community. However, they also specialize in the military family. Okay, so you can apply for membership in around 10 minutes using the online application. If you have a family member that is a Navy Federal member, you can use their membership ID to become a member. Now, even if you apply for membership for children via the minor membership, you can do that on the application online. So you can even apply for minors. Okay, so if you have children, get them into Navy Federal, get them into some banking accounts so they can start building up. All you have to do is call right over the phone. I never have visited a Navy Federal branch unless I picked up a check from them, and that was when I bought my car. And that was only because I wanted to, pick it up right then and there. They could ship it to you if you really wanted them to. So you don't necessarily need to go into a branch. You can call the number here on the screen, 888-842-6328, and open up a bank account right over the phone. Now, if you are a business owner, you would need to establish the personal account before you opened up the business account, because again, they are a relationship bank. Okay, if you are ready to join, now is a great time to join Navy Federal. Okay, they specialize in active duty, retired, and veterans. Okay, so these are all of the different categories that they specialize in. It's really, for Army, Marine, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, Space Force, delayed entry program, DoD officer candidates, DoD reservists, veterans, retirees, and more. So they also specialize in the Department of Defense civilians. So these are DoD civilian employees, U.S. government employees assigned to DoD installations, DoD contractors assigned to U.S. government installations, DoD civilian retirees, and more. Family members qualify. So if you are related to anybody in the military, they do not need to be a Navy Federal member in order for you to get into Navy Federal. So if you say, for example, your parent, grandpa, spouse, sibling, your child, your grandchild, or any of your household members are Navy or a member, you would qualify. So if your parent was in the service, if your grandparent was in the service, okay, if your grandparent was in the Navy, if your grandparent was in the Army, you can qualify to get in. You do not need to have them have an account, okay? You just need to say, hey, my mom was in the military. They're probably going to ask you for their DDT-14 number. If you have it, great. If not, just let them know you don't have it. A lot of military family members might not still be with us today, RIP, but if they are not, just let them know, hey, unfortunately, my family member has passed. I don't have any of their documentation, but they were in the service, and if you have any proof, provide them with proof. But if you have any family members who served, parents, grandparents, spouses, sibling, children, or grandchildren, you qualify for a Navy Federal account. If you have a household member that has a Navy Federal membership, you can qualify for a Navy Federal membership. So if you rent and say one of your roommates is like, yeah, I have a Navy Federal account, you guys have the same address. Therefore, they can share their membership ID number with you, and you can get in with Navy Federal. It's that easy, okay? Now, sometimes people will lie it's just not worth it. Okay. Don't buy a membership. Don't try to sneak around it. Some people qualify, some people just straight up do not qualify. But if you absolutely do not qualify for Navy Federal, I gave you 14 other alternative banks, PenFed being my favorite. It's literally just a $5 donation to join them to the charity of their choice on their website. So they're a great alternative that also gives high limits, that also does the pledge loan. But again, same concept. You want to build that relationship with them. Now, Navy Federal is a TransUnion bank. PenFed is an Equifax bank. PenFed is very inquiry sensitive. Navy Federal is a lot more lenient when it comes to these things. So you just want to understand a little bit of the banking background. And that's why I love Navy Federal so much, because they are so lenient on their credit scores. You do not need to have a perfect credit score in order to get a high limit credit card or credit product with them. It's all about your relationship. So if you do the pledge loan, if you have direct deposit, even if you have a not so great credit score, they will still approve you and give you high limits and great rates. So that's why I really love Navy Federal so much. Not to mention that their members pretty much own them, and that's who they are there for, is their members. Now let's talk about the minor membership. If you're an existing member and a parent, grandparent, or guardian of a minor, sign in and share the gift of membership using the online minor membership application. And this is open to children, whether you're adopted or stepchildren, and also grandchildren. So this is a great way to help set up the kids for success and educate them early on the importance of building that strong, solid relationship with the banks so they can get anything they need. Auto loans, mortgages, credit cards, personal loans, student loans, home improvement loans. They're even great on the business side as a small business owner. So there's so many different options. I'll leave the link below for you guys to watch entire Navy Federal Masterclass. But this was like a whole masterclass on pledge loans and how you can apply this same concept to not only Navy Federal, but to the other banks out there. There's so many banks. You just have to do your research. If you are going to be opening up a Navy Federal bank account, these are the items that you are going to need. So you are going to need your social security number. You don't necessarily need your card, although it is always good to have your card on file. And if you lost your social security card, you can actually create an account with the Social Security Administration government website, and you can order a brand new social security card right online. Now make sure you are at the right website. The Social Security Administration, you will need to create an account. It is a government website, and you can order a replacement social security card without having to leave your house. So there's no excuse nowadays, guys. You don't have to go to the Social Security office. Most people, as long as there's no issues, they can order it right online. You're also going to need your current home address. You're going to need your driver's license or government ID, and you're going to need a credit card or a bank account and routing number to fund your account. To open up a Navy Federal bank account, you only need to make a $5 deposit. If you can do more, then by all means, I highly recommend that you fund it with the highest dollar amount possible, because that's going to help you with your initial bank rating. And if you guys aren't educated about that, that is very important. That's a whole nother topic. We won't get into that. But again, obviously the higher the better, but do what you can. Don't overextend yourself, but you want to make sure that you open up the checking account and a savings account and go ahead and set up direct deposit. You don't have to direct deposit 100% of your check, even if it's only 10%. Direct deposit is direct deposit. Here are some things to keep in mind, because I am a huge Navy Federal fan. Of course, you guys know this, and it's not just because of my personal experience, but this is the #1 credit union, and numbers don't lie. So they rank #1 based on the assets. Why? Because Navy Federal provides massive credit lines, so they're making massive interest in return. Now, make sure you don't mess this up. It is very, very easy to allow your spending habits to get out of control, especially when you know that you have a $30,000 credit card burning a hole in your pocket. But you have to change that mindset. You have to unplug all of those wires and you have to replug them with the new information that I teach you guys. Book a coaching call. Let's get this sorted out, because please, please, please understand, credit cards on the personal side are not to be used and abused. They are to be used and paid. They are to be used like a debit card. Do not spend what you cannot pay in full. You need to make sure that your credit cards are paid in full 5 business days prior to the statement date. The statement date is the last day of your billing cycle. So if you look on your credit card statement, you'll see the billing cycle is from this date to, say, the 20th of the month every single month. Okay, well, you know, as of the 20th of the month, that's the date that they are going to report your account data to the credit bureaus. Banks and financial institutions will only report your credit data to the credit bureaus once per month, and that's going to be whatever the data is as of the statement date. So as of the 20th of the month every month, if your statement date was on the 20th, whatever your account data is as of the 20th, that's the data that will be reported to the credit bureaus. So that's why it's so important for you to understand those dates. It's different than your due date, okay? Those are 2 separate dates. Generally, if you pay your credit card balance by the statement date, 5 days prior to the statement date, you will not have a balance due on your due date because you would have already paid it. But what we're doing is avoiding the credit utilization reported to the credit bureau. So we're still using our card and paying it, but we're not paying interest and we're not allowing that big balance to report to the credit bureaus, so our credit score drops. Because credit utilization, again, 30% of our credit score. So between on-time payments being 35% of our credit score and credit utilization being 30% of our credit score, that's half the battle. That's 65% right there. So between those 2 things, which I have no control over, nobody can fix those things for you. Only you can do that, but you have to be educated. Again, if you knew better, you do better, my friend. So let's get it. So stated income products. Navy Federal allows you to use stated income. So they're not going to ask you for your tax returns, bank statements, or pay stubs. That's the great thing about most of these banks, up to about a 50K range. Now, if you go past that and you're looking at like 250, then of course they might ask for some documents. But generally up to about 50K, it's going to be no documentation. So that's great. Now, this is a great bank if you are looking to rebuild your credit, if you are looking to build credit. Great bank to do that with. Those other 14 alternative banks that I gave you, those are also great alternatives in case you're not able to get into Navy Federal. So don't get discouraged if you're not able to get into Navy Federal right now. Keep this information in the back of your mind. Apply this same concept with PenFed and those other banks that I gave you. Now, you can actually use credit card liquidation with Navy Federal using that secured card. And I'm not going to get into it. You got to watch my other video for all of that. Also, Navy Federal has business funding and can be massive on the business side. There's so many different credit products that they offer. Like I said, they have credit cards, personal credit cards, business credit cards, personal loans, business loans. They have home equity line of credit. They have home improvement loans. They have everything that you will need as a consumer or a small business owner. So if you have not joined Navy Federal and you qualify, make sure that you have joined Navy Federal. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Credit Coach Nicole Scott. If you haven't by now, make sure that you smash that like button. Give me a huge thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. I know this was a long video, but I want to make sure that I cover it. I show you guys exactly what it looks like on paper and how to make you look good on paper as well. Because if you knew better, you do better. And I give you that information that you need to know, not what you want to hear. Because if it was that easy, everyone would have great credit. And I tell people all the time, if it sounds too good to be true, guess what? It probably is. But I'm here to give you all of the real deal information. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. And if you have, make sure that you have subscribed and watch the playlist coming up next. Take care.